Hello, truth seekers. Welcome to Heartfelt Tales, where we dissect the human condition with unflinching honesty and explore the stories that shape our world. If you enjoy deep and moving stories, don't forget to give this video a like and hit the subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any meaningful stories. Tonight, we delve into a narrative so unexpected, so profoundly moving, it challenges everything you thought you knew about power, privilege, and the possibility of redemption. We're not just recounting events here. We're dissecting a raw, unfiltered moment that occurred on a bustling New York street, a chance encounter that could redefine a legacy. This isn't just a story, it's an investigation into the heart of a man often perceived as impenetrable. Brace yourselves. What you're about to witness is a collision of worlds, a confrontation with uncomfortable truths, and a glimmer of hope in the most unlikely of places. Buckle up, because this tale takes turns you won't see coming. This video is packed with crucial details and nuanced perspectives. To truly grasp the significance of what transpired, stay with us until the very end. You won't want to miss a single beat. New York City's night was a chaotic symphony of light and sound. The screeching of car horns tore through the darkness, the boisterous laughter spilling from luxurious bars, mixed with the improvisational jazz from a nearby club. Donald Trump stepped out of his black limousine, surrounded by a phalanx of security guards. Tonight's fundraiser had been a resounding success, promising a generous influx of resources for his increasingly heated election campaign. Tonight, the weariness stemmed not only from the perfunctory handshakes and artificial smiles but also from the burden of promises and commitments to the electorate. He longed to return quickly to his opulent penthouse apartment, where he could admire the glittering cityscape, a reward for his relentless efforts. As he walked along the sidewalk, the sharp eyes of a seasoned businessman suddenly halted. In a secluded corner, beneath the weak yellow glow of a street lamp, a homeless man sat huddled on the pavement. His face was etched with hardship, the lines of life deeply grooved, his sunken eyes like two dark pits, his clothes ragged and filthy. A cardboard sign lay before him, the scrawled words visible, "Please help. Need money for food." Donald Trump stopped, causing the security detail to also come to a halt. He looked at the homeless man, a strange emotion stirring within him. He had seen people like this countless times, the blemishes of an affluent society. But tonight, for some reason, the image haunted him, a reminder of another world, a world he rarely touched. Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump. A young reporter pushed forward, microphone aimed directly at his face. Can you give us a brief comment on your latest economic policy? Voters are very interested in your solutions to the unemployment problem. Donald Trump ignored the question. He moved toward the homeless man, disregarding the curious glances and whispers around him. Sir, can you help me a little? The homeless man looked up at him, his voice raspy as the wind whistling through a crack. His eyes pleaded, but also held a hint of suspicion. Donald Trump didn't answer immediately. He looked down at the cardboard sign, then back at the homeless man's haggard face. He saw in it not only poverty but also shame and despair. How did you end up here? He asked, his voice low, but not condescending. The homeless man sighed, a sigh as heavy as the burden of an entire life. Life pushes you around, sir. I lost my job, lost my home, lost my family. All because of one wrong decision. That's terrible, Donald Trump said, with a hint of empathy in his voice. He pulled out his wallet, removing a crisp, new $100 bill. Here, take this and buy something to eat. Don't spend it foolishly. The homeless man didn't take the money. He looked directly into Donald Trump's eyes, his gaze sharp and bitter. I don't need your money, he said, his voice defiant. I need a life. A chance to start over. Donald Trump frowned, his patience beginning to wear thin. He was not accustomed to being refused, especially when he was trying to appear generous. What are you talking about? He asked, his voice becoming sharper. I just gave you money, what more do you want? Do you want me to build you a palace? Money doesn't solve the problem, the homeless man said, his voice still calm, but unwavering. Money is just a temporary solution, like a painkiller for cancer. I need a job, a place to live, a chance to prove that I still have value. That I'm still a human being. You're asking for too much, Donald Trump said, anger beginning to creep into his voice. I can't solve all the problems in the world. I'm a businessman, not a philanthropist. I'm not asking you to solve all the problems, the homeless man said, his voice becoming stronger, as if he were fighting for the right to exist. I just want you to see me as a human being, not as an animal abandoned on the margins of society. I'm not a number, not a problem to be solved. I'm John, and I deserve respect, like anyone else. Anger boiled in Donald Trump's chest, but at the same time, an uncomfortable feeling welled up. He was used to being cheered, admired, regarded as a hero. He was not used to being questioned, criticized, viewed as a heartless person. You're wasting my time, he said, his voice cold. I have more important things to do, things that can benefit thousands of people. He turned to walk away, determined to dismiss the image of the homeless man from his mind. The security detail hurried after him, forming a barrier between him and the underworld. But John's voice still echoed in his head, like an irrefutable accusation. You can build skyscrapers, but you can't build a just society, John said, his voice filled with bitterness. You can make billions of dollars, but you can't buy people's hearts, you can't buy respect. Donald Trump stopped, as if pulled back by an invisible force. He turned around, looking at John with a puzzled expression. Are you trying to lecture me? He asked, his voice full of challenge. Who do you think you are, to dare speak to me that way? I'm not lecturing anyone, John said, his voice unwavering. I'm just telling the truth. The truth that you're trying to ignore. Silence enveloped the sidewalk, heavy and tense. The security detail and curious passers-by stopped, forming a circle around Donald Trump and John. They didn't know what was happening, but they sensed the confrontation between two people, two different worlds. Donald Trump looked at John, trying to find a lie, a pretense, a sign of exploitation. But he saw nothing. He only saw a suffering man, a desperate man, a man trying to fight for his dignity, even though he had lost everything. John's words were like knives cutting into Donald Trump's pride, breaking down the fortified wall he had built around himself. He had always prided himself on his success, his wealth, his power. He had always believed that he was the best, the smartest, the most deserving of what he had. But now, he began to doubt. He began to wonder if he had really succeeded, or if he was just a lucky person standing on the ruins of others. He began to wonder if he had really lived a meaningful life, or if he was just chasing after fleeting values. What's your name? Donald Trump asked, his voice becoming softer, as if he were lowering himself to John's level. I'm John, the homeless man said, his voice a little surprised. John, Donald Trump repeated, as if memorizing the name in his mind. What do you want from me? What do you really want? I want a chance, John said, his voice full of longing. I want a chance to prove that I still have value, that I can still contribute to society, that I can still be a good person. Donald Trump thought. He looked at John, then looked around. He looked at the towering skyscrapers, the luxurious cars speeding past, the wealthy and powerful people walking on the sidewalk. He realized that he was living in a different world, a world built on competition, on wealth, on inequality. I don't promise anything, Donald Trump said, his voice still with a hint of doubt. But I'll try to help you. If you really want to change. Donald Trump bent down, shaking John's hand. His hand was warm and strong, the hand of a man accustomed to giving orders and being in control. John's hand was cold and trembling, the hand of a man who had lost everything and was trying to cling to a fragile ray of hope. Come to my office tomorrow morning, Donald Trump said, his voice decisive. I'll see what I can do for you. But remember, this is just an opportunity, not a guarantee. John was surprised, unable to believe his ears. Really? He asked, his voice choked with emotion. You're really going to help me? I told you, I don't promise anything, Donald Trump said, his voice still with some skepticism. But I'll give you a chance to prove that you deserve this help. If you waste it, don't blame me. Donald Trump stood up straight, raising his head. He waved to the crowd, then stepped into the limousine. The car drove away, leaving John alone on the sidewalk, in the darkness of the night, but with a flame of hope burning brightly in his heart. John watched the car until it disappeared behind the towering buildings. He knew that this opportunity could change his life, could help him regain what he had lost. He knew that he had to seize it with all his strength, with all his determination. On the way home, Donald Trump was silent, thoughtful. He looked out the window, admiring the glittering city, a symbol of wealth and power. But in his mind, the image of John still appeared clearly, like a reminder of those who were abandoned, those who were struggling to survive. He began to think about what John had said, about the inequality in society, about the responsibility of the rich and powerful. He began to realize that he had been too focused on his own success, that he had forgotten the people around him, the people who needed his help. He wondered if he could do anything to change the situation, to create a more just society, a society where everyone had a chance to succeed. He wondered if he could use his wealth and power to help those less fortunate, to give them a better life. He knew that this would be a great challenge, an uncompromising battle. He knew that he would face criticism, opposition, even hostility from those who did not want change. But he also knew that this was the right thing to do, the thing he had to do, if he wanted to be a true leader. The next morning, John arrived at Donald Trump's office. He wore his old clothes, but they had been washed and ironed neatly. He timidly knocked on the door, his heart pounding in his chest. "Come in," Donald Trump's voice rang out, warmer and friendlier than yesterday. John entered, not daring to look directly into Donald Trump's eyes. He saw Donald Trump sitting behind his desk, his expression serious, but not cold. "Have a seat," Donald Trump said, pointing to the chair opposite. John sat down, feeling tense and anxious. He didn't know what Donald Trump would say, what he would ask him to do. "I've been thinking about what you said last night," Donald Trump said, his voice slow and deliberate. "I've decided to give you a chance, a real chance to change your life." John was surprised, unable to believe his ears. "Really?" he asked, his voice choked with emotion. "You really believe in me?" "I don't know what kind of person you are," Donald Trump said, his voice frank. "But I believe in the ability of people to change. I believe that everyone deserves a chance to start over. I'm going to hire you to work in one of my hotels," Donald Trump said. "You'll start with cleaning, but if you do well, if you prove your diligence and honesty, I'll consider promoting you." John was moved, tears welling up in his eyes. "I don't know what to say," he said, his voice trembling. "Thank you so much. Thank you for believing in me." "Don't thank me," Donald Trump said, his voice stern. "Prove that you deserve this opportunity. Work hard, learn new things, and always remember that you are representing yourself, your family, and all the people who are suffering like you." John nodded, wiping away the tears. "I won't let you down," he said, his voice full of determination. "I will work my hardest, I will prove that I can change." Donald Trump smiled, a genuine and warm smile. "I believe you," he said. "Now, go meet the HR manager. They will guide you on the job and help you start your new life." John stood up, shaking Donald Trump's hand. His hand was warm and strong, as if transferring a new source of strength to John. "Thank you again," he said. "I will not forget what you have done for me." He left the office, filled with hope and determination. He knew that the road ahead would be difficult, many challenges, but he believed that he could overcome them all, if he had the trust and help of those around him. Donald Trump watched John, smiling. He knew that he had done something right, something that could change a person's life. He knew that he had sown a seed of hope, a seed that could sprout and spread in society. But he also knew that this was only the first step in a long journey, a journey of changing himself and changing the world. He knew that he still had a lot of work to do to help those less fortunate, to build a fairer society, a society where everyone has a chance to succeed. He stood up, walked to the window. He looked down at New York City, the city of dreams, the city of opportunities. He took a deep breath, inhaling the fresh air of the morning, and exhaled the burdens of the past. He said to himself, I will make this city better. For everyone. So, what do you make of it all? Did Donald Trump's actions in this situation surprise you? Did they alter your perception of him, even just a little? This story, like so many others, reminds us that beneath the headlines and the political rhetoric, we are all connected by our shared humanity. It reminds us that even the most hardened hearts can be touched, and that even the smallest acts of kindness can have a ripple effect. We want to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and join the conversation. What lessons did you take away from this tale? What questions does it leave you with? If you found this video insightful, thought-provoking, or simply moving, please give it a like and share it with your friends. And most importantly, subscribe to Heartfelt Tales for more stories that dare to explore the complexities of the human experience. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep searching for the truth, and keep believing in the power of Heartfelt Tales.